Hi everyone and welcome to Linda's Italian Kitchen. If you're interested in learning authentic and healthy Italian dishes, please consider subscribing to my channel to help me growing. Today I decided to show you how to cook one of the most famous Italian dishes. I'm talking about carbonara. However, carbonara is pretty heavy because it has eggs, cheese, and in addition to that it has also guanciale that is also pretty fatty. For this reason today I decided to show you a healthy alternative to the classic carbonara, and instead of using guanciale, today I will be using asparagus. Don't worry, during this video I will give you also all the information to make the authentic carbonara with guanciale. And I will tell you also which ingredient you could add, how you can modify it, so at the end you can make your own personalized version of carbonara. Okay, let's start cooking. Today I will give you the doses to prepare pasta alla carbonara for 2 servings. Obviously you can double or half the ingredients depending how many people you have. To prepare pasta alla carbonara you need very few and simple ingredients. However, if you want to prepare a good pasta alla carbonara, it's important that you use ingredients that are fresh and are as much as possible of high quality. Because today we are preparing carbonara with asparagus, obviously the main ingredient will be asparagus. We will need roughly 7 ounces of the edible part of the asparagus. The area in Italy where I come from is actually very rich in wild asparagus, and when it's spring, asparagus are everywhere. And for example, my father likes to go hiking and just pick them. Wild asparagus are pretty different compared to the asparagus that we find in States. In particular, they are thinner and they have a stronger taste. This time when I went for grocery, I found those asparagus and I was very happy because look at those. Those are very thin compared to what we find normally in US. And I decided to buy them, and I hope they are at least as half as good as the wild asparagus. Then we will need the yolk from 2 large eggs. When I make carbonara, I like to use eggs that are as fresh as possible because we eat them roughly half raw, so you want the best one. So the best one will be the one from the farmer market. But in general, remember to use eggs that are pasture raised and that are pretty fresh. For that, look at the expiration date on the box. It needs to be very far. Then we will need pasta. For 2 people, I'm using 5.5 ounces of pasta. When making the traditional carbonara with guanciale, the best pasta shape to use is spaghetti. But when I prepare carbonara with asparagus, I actually prefer to use rigatoni. Then we will need freshly grated pecorino romano, 1.5 ounces. If you find it, buy the pecorino romano that has the black skin, like this one. This is the best pecorino romano that you can use. In alternative, you can buy the pecorino romano with the white skin. Of all the brands that I have found so far in America, the best one is Locatelli. I don't know if you can see well the name because it's covered. It's Locatelli. If you are lucky enough to find pecorino that is sold in saran wrap, smell it. It has to have a strong sheep smell, very pungent smell. Otherwise, don't buy it. When I need to use it for pasta, I like to grate my cheese using this side of the grater. As you can see, it's still dirty because I grated it before. That's because using this side, the cheese comes out kind of like sand, very small, and I like it like that. Then we will need some salt. Finally, we will need also some freshly grinded pepper. In reality, when I make carbonara, I like to start from peppercorn and just paste them in a mortar. Finally, we will need also half tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. Now, if you're making the original carbonara, first of all, you will not need oil. And for 2 people, you can use roughly 3 ounces of guanciale that has been cut in a thin slice. Or you can use bacon. Yes, I said bacon. If you speak with a purist from Rome, they will tell you, no, you cannot use bacon in carbonara. But the reality is that many Italians do that, so you can do it as well. One thing I should mention is that pecorino romano is very salty, and for this reason, some people like to mix pecorino romano with parmigiano. The authentic recipe wants only pecorino romano, and that's what I will be using today. Carbonara is a very fast dish to prepare, and therefore the first thing that you need to do is to put your water for the pasta to boil. In the meantime, we start to prepare our asparagus. To separate the edible from not edible part of the asparagus, we just take one and we start doing like that from the bottom until it cracks. I will show you with the next one, so I start here from the bottom and walk. Crack. Ready. Another one. So I'm starting here from the bottom. Crack. Done. This is the way to prepare the asparagus and also have the least amount of waste. Those are my 7 ounces of asparagus, and those are the hard ends. Now we need to chop those asparagus. What my mom used to do is just to chop them with her hands, in this way. If you don't like to chop them with your hands, you can use a knife. Actually, with a knife it's faster because you can take more asparagus in once. I keep my mom's tradition and just chop all of them with my hands. Chopping the asparagus in this way, you can also realize if they are hard at some point. I finished to chop my asparagus. Now I will give them and the bad ends a fast wash. I will add those asparagus ends to my boiling water. Now we will beat our egg yolks. Just a bit like that. And later we will add nearly all the cheese. We will just leave roughly 1 teaspoon that we will sprinkle at the end of the pasta. I'm just leaving this, it's more than enough. And we will beat the cheese and the eggs together until we will get a kind of cream. At the start it's not very easy, but it will become easier with the time. My cream is ready. Now the last thing I need to do is to grind my pepper. Let's start by adding the oil to a pan. And when the oil is hot, we can add the asparagus. We will fry the asparagus a bit. After a few minutes we decrease the heat and cover it. And keep cooking like that. Now it's time to start cooking our pasta. As you can see, I left the ends of the asparagus inside the water for roughly 10 minutes and the water became kind of green and is also smelling very nicely. Now I remove them. I will make sure my water is boiling, then I will add salt. As I told you, we don't need to add so much salt because the pecorino is already salty enough. And I will add also my pasta. Give a good stir and let it cook. Let's also check how our asparagus are doing. If you see that they are becoming too dry, you can add 1 tablespoon of water from pasta. And stir a bit. Before adding pasta, I actually like to add some pepper to the asparagus. My pasta has a cooking time of 12 minutes, but I want it very al dente. Therefore, I'm actually fishing it out from the water after 9 minutes. I will keep cooking my pasta with the asparagus by adding some of the water in which I cook the pasta. Doing this way, the pasta will keep releasing some starch that will make my final dish creamier. Okay, my pasta is cooked and I take it off the heat. I want to show you how it needs to look inside. As you can see, it's pretty dry, so I will add a tiny bit more water. We can add the egg. I like to add also to the egg cream a bit of water from pasta, just a tiny bit, and mix it a bit in this way before adding to the pasta. We mix it. If you want your pasta creamier, you can add more water from pasta. And our super creamy pasta alla carbonara is ready. Now what I like to do is to add other pepper and mix a bit more. Our carbonara is ready. The last thing I want to do is to add some fresh pepper and some pecorino. Buon appetito! So good! If there is any particular Italian dish that you want to learn how to cook, leave me a comment and I will try to add it to my list. Thank you for watching my video and see you to the next recipe.